faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Yes, it's iWalter. Hey, I've been off for, I think, like now going on 2 weeks. Or has it been 1 week? I can't even remember anymore, actually. I apologize. And, folks, I got to tell you, I got a sinus headache tonight, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this. I just actually got finished at, like, basically midnight. It's the 17th, Sunday 17th for the next 5 minutes, but it's actually going on the 18th. That's another thing. I have a 8-hour test that's coming up soon, too. And that's a different story. I don't need to go into that. I just don't have the energy. A lot of things happened, though, when I was away. One thing was, it was something I actually waited for a very long time. Well, a couple months, whatever. Was going to see Lady Gaga. So I spend tons of money, both before, after, and during the Lady Gaga concert. It was, like, phenomenal. And it's funny because I have it buried in my stories, but she actually, only did a few shows, and she got really, she's in a lot of pain. There's some stories about that, but you know what? I'm not even sure. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different little things I want to play tonight, but I want to get all this stuff done. I actually cut some stuff out just to make it a little bit easier for me and everyone else who may listen to me, which is generally, like, actually nobody. Yeah, Lady Gaga releases her own zombie. Okay, I got the wrong story up, but yeah, I got the one on her zombie dolls and stuff. I found some stories, but the one I wanted, actually, which I did not pull up, is she got rushed to the hospital when she was going to Rio. Right after leaving, I think, the States, like, when she was in Philly. She was there for 2 nights, and she got really hurt, because she really does try to, give you your money's worth. I will say that much, and she definitely does. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I didn't expect to do this, because I always end up doing this anyway, I got to find this story, because I actually prepped the wrong story this time. That's no surprise with me, actually, but I have a couple different things. It's not going to be all about Gaga. I could do that if I really wanted to. I could talk about her for days and weeks. I'm not even kidding. I really, probably politically, obviously, we're not on the same wavelength, me and her. But as far as, she put that aside when she did that show that I saw this past Sunday. It wasn't yesterday now. It was the week before yesterday. She puts anything aside about politics. She's there for one reason only. She's there to do a job and perform and give you a, 2-hour good time. And that's exactly what she does. She gives you what you paid for. She's not there like I've seen other entertainers, and they spend their whole time just talking about their political beliefs. And I forget who I did that. Henry Rollins I did that with. And it was like, you know what, dude, I love you. I love your movies and stuff. I like you as the characters you play. I can't say much about his music, but then you go into this whole spiel. I can't find it. About, for like a couple hours, about how you hate this country and everything about it. And, you just basically got all these drones that follow you and or like dancing, or what do you call it, clapping seals. And it was like, this is ridiculous. So it was crazy. I got me really angry. Maybe this is it. I think I was surprised I found it. Daily Caller, actually. Lady Gaga hospitalized with severe physical pain. This was like, I think it was Rio. And I'll tell you, I went to her 3 times last year. It was worth it. It wasn't even enough for me. I could see her like 1,000,000 times. And some friend keeps on putting up obnoxious things when I put, show my respect for, her as an entertainer. Lady Gaga, and it's like, I don't know what to say. It just pisses me off. Whoops, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize I had my sound on. That's no big deal. You get over it. Yeah, she's only 31 years old, also, but yeah, it's just something I think I admire about her is, and I've read this before. She just, she comes from a very go-getting kind of family background. That. The way they became successful, her family, her father, and everything is just by, if you want something, you got to go for it. And that's something that like lacks in this country anymore is like people, they feel like they're entitled to everything. And obviously she's not one of them. She knows that she's got to work for what she wants, and she does. And she tries to, not only work for what she wants, she tries to, like the people like myself who are big fans of her, she tries to make sure that she, pretty much obviously pleases us and gives us what we want. Unfortunately, she goes a little too far because she obviously is, going to have physical pain that's going to last her the rest of her life. And again, she's only 31. It said Lady Gaga canceled her Rock in Rio concert in Brazil. So I'm sorry, it was Brazil Thursday after announcing, this was like last Thursday, not this Thursday that passed, but, oh wait, actually maybe it was. She was suffering from severe physical pain. So she's got some, I can't even pronounce this word because they do write it down in one of these articles. And it was like, wow, I feel really bad. This woman just like, she knows what she needs to do. But I mean, for the entertainer, she goes far beyond any other entertainer, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. Like, I've heard everybody say, oh, no, this entertainer does this and that. I don't care. I think that out of all of them, I've seen many different shows, and they're all excellent. But this, by far, what she does is geared towards just her, what does she call them? I forget what Gaga now calls us as her fan base. God, I got to look that up and I'll lose everything. I hope not. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, Little Monsters. I'm sorry, I just remembered, so I don't have to go any further. Yeah, she calls us her Little Monsters. And, she grew up being like the misfit, the outcast, for her, she's not, by most people's opinions, she's not the most attractive looking person, but she surpassed that by doing, okay, well, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to prove that I can do things that you said I can't do. And that's what I respect about her. So, I bought stupid trinkets and stuff, bags, and I got one. I bought which was worth every single penny, a VIP. And then I realized that you didn't even have to, but it was definitely a plus, that she goes so far as to please her, quote unquote, her little monsters or her fan base like myself, that she makes sure that she goes from one part of, like it was at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, that she went from one part of the floor to the other side of the arena to make sure that everyone had at least a chance to, see her, look at her straight in the eye practically. So that is more than I can say for any other entertainer. She takes everything, I think, to heart. Like if somebody, because I know that was a big thing that's been going on. Maybe other entertainers do that. I don't really know. And I honestly don't care. But I heard this and I've done this and it didn't work. If you throw, a letter onto the stage, she will read it. And if she doesn't read it right away, she does get back to you. And she's done that for me. Now, that wasn't directly, but she looks at these letters And you're definitely on our call list, because I did that last year, I think it was. Was it last year? I can't remember. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I thought it was last year. Where once I had seen Lady Gaga twice. My friend helped me. We threw on stage, a letter that I typed up and wrote and addressed it to her. And I didn't hear anything right away. It was like, crap, this was just a waste of time at first. Then, miraculously, she started doing that thing with Tony Bennett. And she was touring again, doing something completely different. So that might have been 2 years ago. And then I did hear back through, hey, we're going to give you some tickets if you can make it up to New York. We're going to give you some free tickets to go see, Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett live. All you have to do is show up. And I was like, well, I'd love to. It's just I'm not the type of person. I mean, we got so many people now in Pennsylvania who travel from New York to Philly and my neck of the woods in Pennsylvania of King of Prussia, on a daily basis. It's maybe you can do that. You can go from the city of New York down to East Bumblefuck in Pennsylvania, but I can't do that. I don't have the patience, the time, or the money to do this. So I just had to basically, I had to tell them, listen, I accept, I appreciate you giving me these tickets. I just can't take them. But all this happened, I believe, because I gave my email address too, and I got tickets through the email from a Thronis letter. So yeah, she really does go above and beyond. You're on her list once you throw her a letter. She actually goes out. I seen her give the person who wrote the letter just on the Sunday before last. Now, came out to the audience and gave the person a hug. It's she's all about being personal with people, and I have a lot of respect for that. Okay, I went a lot further with this than I expected to, but, actually I was going to do, and I might still call it this, I was going to call the show Gaga for Gaga, so Lady Gaga. So it is true. I've always been. In fact, I was so impressed. It's funny, I have my shrine of Lady Gaga stuff in my room. And it's just basically, it used to be all Doctor Who. Now it's set up dedicated for Lady Gaga merchandise I buy, which is collectible action figures, so to speak, that were modified to look like her, which they get costly, but I've been buying for the last couple years. And some other merchandise. It's just truly collector's items. So it's fun. It's fun. And I enjoy going to this concerts. It actually... I had taken 450 pictures, and believe it or not, for once, at least over 100 of the pictures turned out really nicely. I have them on my Facebook, my Twitter account, and I have all, and I think that's only two places. Oh, in Instagram. It was just a real pain in the ass because that night I came home from Lady Gaga, and I had to fix my father's computer, which he had screwed up for the second time in less than since June, so it was just a mess. So but I was okay, I got all these pictures I want to do too. So I was up until 6 or 7 in the morning doing all this stuff, and it was on a Sunday night, Monday morning. So yeah, it wasn't fun. But the concert was excellent though. I can't say enough. So anyway. Obviously, stories do pile up. Sound bites clips pile up. That's why I have these sound clips. And these aren't all of them. I'll take notes or screenshots on my phone if I'm listening to Rush Limbaugh, because I listen to podcasts on my phone, my iPhone, which, by the way, all that new Apple stuff was just, announced the other day. I did pre-order on the Apple stuff. I did order the iWatch because, see, where I work, technically, you're not allowed to wear the watch in where I work because it's a sterile area, but I make sure to clean this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm very anal, and I got very OCD. So trust me, the stuff I wear is probably, you could eat off of it because it's so clean. I mean, you won't find any specimens of bacteria on the stuff that when I get done with it. So anyway, the thing that really impressed me, it's the first time they're doing it. It's going to cost me an extra $10 a month, which I will pay, is they have an iWatch now that is completely independent. It does not need a phone at all. You need a phone service, which that gets adjoined to that. I have Verizon wireless, but you can make phone calls from the watch now without a phone. You can actually listen to music. That's what I'm interested in, listening to music, because it's got a built-in, what do you call that thing? Like, you can get that with the iPad or your computer, that it's actually built into the device, that you can actually get a wireless connection, or you can get, not wireless, well, it is wireless, but I mean, you get, like you do on your cell phone, you basically get a cellular service on your watch. So that's unbelievable. So I can listen to music. It's not going to be very loud, which is fine, because I don't want people to know that I'm playing music. Because I work alone all the time. But like 90% of the time I'm working by myself. So nobody's going to really know what I'm doing. So, but it'll keep me from, well, I'll still be doing that. I talk to myself like I am now. But at least I won't be going insane while I'm doing it. Because right now I'm talking to myself like as a crazy person. Being able to listen to things or whatever will definitely make the time go very fast. Excuse me for a moment. So that iWatch was like, that was a no-brainer. It's like, okay, this thing is completely independent. And if I can, I'll definitely, because I won't get connections everywhere where I work. Well, we get what's called, we get free Wi-Fi. So if it's got, independent cellular, it probably also has a way that you could also independently hook up to the Wi-Fi, the one I have at my job. And that way I'll get a very strong connection. So either way, it's just 100% yes. I'm not going to think twice about it. Another thing that Apple announced, besides the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and now the new iPhone X, which won't come out until next year, the iPhone 10. It's literally an X. The X that they use for Apple OS on the desktop for how many years now? 10 or 20, who knows? It's the same one. So, so there is no 9. It's just right from 8 to X or 10 on the phones. And some guy actually convinced me today. He says, yeah, you definitely want that. He said, the guy at Best Buy, I was in Best Buy. I spent so much money in Best Buy. It wasn't funny. I got to talk about that. So this guy in Best Buy said, yeah, what do you think about this new, the guy was ringing me out. I bought all these movies, box sets or whatever, or what do you call it, steel boxes. Yeah, box sets. I was asking about it. It's like, yeah, we just had a class on this, at the Best Buy store. I'm sure he meant that. I didn't pick up on it right away, young guy. And I said, yeah, well, the 8 looks like it's promising. Both the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X are all glass. The whole phone, there's no metal, per se, on the front and back. There's a band that holds it together to actually connect for, I guess for your cellular. You need some type of metal in there. But the external parts is of both phones are completely all glass. So I told him, I said, well, I don't know if I'm a little leery on the iPhone X, because apparently, they said that the zoom is going to actually be depleted a little bit, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be as good as on the iPhone 8. Like, it's going to actually have a better zoom on the iPhone 8. And he says, yeah, but you know what? They're using some type of special lens, glass lens on the iPhone X. He said that is readily used on like $3,000 pieces of equipment, like I guess camera lenses, whatever. He says it's the same type of lens they use on a $3,000. That's what he was told. So you're not using that much for a lens on a phone, especially an Apple phone, because it's a much smaller. It's not like a 35 millimeter lens, but he said it's the same type. So they really make sure, like when Apple makes something, yeah, it's got awful expensive, but there's a reason behind why it's so expensive. Yeah, maybe it's cheap to produce, mass produce, but then there's also what they put into, which people don't understand a lot of times. Yeah, it might cost like a couple $100 to make a phone, but you got to remember how much research went into that. The research is where all that money is being funded to, or where they're trying to get their money back, is how much it costs for the research. And some of the materials can be pretty expensive too, sometimes, but not as much as what they charge you, I know. But there's a reason for everything. People just don't understand that. So anyway, yeah, so there was that. Okay, so far I talked about Lady Gaga. So I ordered, did not order the phone. I was tempted to, though, because I can get like $350 for my existing phone from, if I, stick with Verizon, which I will. I have no problems, so to speak. I do have some. I'm not going to go into issues about that. But it's for the most part, it's okay. Verizon. So, and my watch will be connected to Verizon once I get it, which will be the end of this month. And, the phone I'm going back and forth on, the guy told me, yeah, you want to go right for the X. You don't want to go for the 8 if you have a 7S, because the X is going to be like the grandiose phone of all phones. And everybody is talking about, well, the phone is going to start at, $1,000. It starts at $1,000 for a freaking cell phone. I mean, yeah, the phones we got now, I think even my friend Matt has an iPhone 7S. Or F7 Plus. And my friend Todd has one, because both those guys had phones that just stopped working properly or just not doing what they needed the phones to do. So they wanted the extra mile, and they got a better phone, and I got one, the 7 Plus. And those, believe it or not, all three of us paid about $1,000 for those. So I guess the point is like, yeah, every other year, every 12 months, you're paying $1,000 for a cell phone. So I will tell you, by the way, and I do believe in this now, I looked into all the plans. Okay, is this still running? Okay. And I will recommend, absolutely, I'm going to drop down a bar on my thing to make sure, it is on mono. Okay. Never mind. That, yeah, you definitely... I would recommend for anybody, because if you do want to upgrade your phone, you want the newest and greatest thing, Apple does give you a good deal. It seems really expensive, but you break down the monthly payments, you break down what you're getting. I would go for my next phone from Apple is going to definitely be one of those trade-in plans, because you get basically what you're getting more for your money, basically, or about the same, but maybe more for your money that way. Because at the end of that thing, you can trade it up for another phone and not take as much of a loss. It's almost like leasing a car. It's either good or it's bad for some people. But I think it's the same idea with this trade-up plan that now Apple started, because they probably figured out, like, people are getting pissed that every so often they, hey, if I want a new phone, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg again. So people get tired of that. So the trade-up plan also includes in the price, this is what makes it worth it, because now it's really expensive for these new phones. It also includes, get this, Apple Care, which Apple Care covers everything. So if you smash your phone, you can go into an Apple store, which there is a lot of them now within the area where I live. You can trade that phone in for another phone, and you won't pay a dime. So, and Apple Care used to cost like $50, now costs $200. But look at the phones, though, too. They've changed a lot, too. So, that being incorporated into the price, yeah, it's actually worth buying the trade-up plan. So, and you get some money for your old phone as well if you haven't started it yet. So, all the way around, it's really good. I think you got like $350, plus you get that service plan where if they put a new phone out within the next 12 months, you get a new phone. You can trade it in and not take that big bulk of a loss. You're going to take somewhat of one, but quite not as much. So the whole thing it does look really good. Don't get me wrong. But the other thing I got was from Apple TV, the new Apple TV, which is 4K. That was a no-brainer for me too, because anything I buy, like I do buy hard copies of TV shows and movies, because I just like the decorative boxes and stuff. I collect some of that stuff. But otherwise, it's just like, okay, I'm just piling up movies and shows. It's got to be a point I just say, this is enough. I'm just going to basically order it online, get the streaming copies, let somebody else do the storage for me. I can just watch it wherever I want to go on the road. If it's a movie or a TV show or a series, I've done that plenty of times. But most of the stuff I bought so far has been from... I stick with, because it's guaranteed to be safe. I don't have to worry about the storage, but I get everything from iTunes. I buy my music from iTunes. I got that monthly plan for $10 a month. I buy TV shows and movies. I buy the, what do you call it? I can't remember what you call that now. The pass, the season passes. And I just spend like over $130 for some TV shows. Big Bang Theory, some comedy show with these chicks, these Jewish chicks. I love the show. It's on their 4th season, I think. And I didn't think twice about it. American Horror Story, I made the mistake of buying it, but I do like the show minus this season. Had to put a lot of Bush bashing in there, which I would appreciate if they didn't. But I buy shows that I do like watching. They're clean, they're virus free, and they're not stored on in my house. So I don't mind. And it's worth it. But the bottom line is Apple TV now they had a standard high definition one. Now they have a 4K one. It's coming out at the end of the month. It was like no brainer again. So the old one I'm going to give to my parents because they don't have 4K TV sets. So I'm going to give it to my parents. There's another thing I watch like religiously almost anymore. And it's this thing I mentioned probably a million times. And it's called Pluto TV. It's internet cable TV for free. For those who don't like to spend money, yeah, you pay for your internet service, but you don't pay for the network. The network is totally free. They have like Mystery Science 3000, they have sports channels, music channels, all absolutely free. You pay through the commercials or whoever, gives the money for those. And it's funny, it's the same commercials for that's pretty smart of them. On any network you go on Pluto TV, it's the same exact commercials. So it's a win-win situation because you get to see the stuff for free, and the people who are advertising on Pluto TV get to spread it across every network. So, every channel, I should say, not network. Well, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. So that part's like a plus there for them and anybody who watches it. So I watched what's called Horror 24/7, and I'm telling you, dude, there is a lot of really interesting movies. They're not all of them are great, but they're classic horror films. I mean, they had all the Leprechaun movies on the other day, even Leprechaun in the Hood 1 and 2, which I never knew they existed. They had those movies with those Ghoulies. They had the series of movies of Ghoulies. I mean, these are B horror movies, but you used to go to the video store and rent those all the time. The video stores when they used to exist, and they were fun to watch. So, and then they had this independent film. Like, it didn't get that great of a rating because it was hard to understand, but it was really made you think. And I can't remember the name, but it was this place where there was 4 people placed that were all related to each other, like related through blood, but they were in different times brought together to this one area, like not a purgatory, but some place that changed the way their life came out, their family history almost. It was an interesting film. Can't remember the name of it, but it wasn't really necessarily a horror movie, but it definitely made you think. I mean, I've seen so many different movies. There was one on Horror 24/7, definitely that kept my interest about. It didn't get the greatest rating, but some of these movies there's so many movies out there, it's hard to see them all. But it was what do you call that? One of those ones where like Blair Witch style kind of film work, but on Sasquatch. And it was like, yeah, I'll watch a few minutes. I stayed up until the movie was over, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning when I had to work the next day. So, but these movies are movies I wouldn't even think of like looking for because there are so many movies. These are the ones that kind of get buried because they are like probably shown at, like that one that I can't remember the name of was shown at Sundance. So those kind of movies, they don't always, there's so many of those type of films that just kind of like get lost and forgotten about because there's so many movies that, are being put out in, California, I guess, so to speak. So those get first bid before or first dibs before any type of independent filmmakers trying to make their name out there. And some of these films are actually really good, but they get forgotten. So because of that, you got like the Horror 24/7 that's showing this stuff, like these independent horror films or these independent films in general that are just a little off the wall, and some of them are actually, I think, are pretty decent. They just don't get a fair shake. So, so bottom line, going back to what I was talking about, the 4K Apple TV, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be watching that shit, and I'll be watching these movies I've been buying and TV shows and these TV series passes. But the other one's going to go in one of my parents' TV sets so they can watch some of this stuff too, because they can watch my stuff that I bought and then watch some of the stuff on Pluto TV, because they can't do it right now. Their TVs aren't set up. Their televisions don't have that capability. But with that Apple TV, my older one, it will work fine on my father's TV set in his office. And then my mom can watch it. Speaking of which, let me get this out of the way because I want to eventually get to these clips. But yeah, I went to Best Buy today. I wasn't going to go in there. You know what made me? I went up to Collegeville Shopping Center. And I went in because originally because it was like, like last year I saw these. I love the Halloween shops they have when they set them up around this time of year. And there's one called Spirit, and there's another one, I think it's called Halloween Store or whatever. And, they're seasonal places. They are all year round online, but they're seasonal as far as storefronts because they get shut down right after Halloween is over. So I asked them today, but there's one that was from where I was at today in Oaks. I was in Oaks today to get my hair cut. I get it done every week. I looked online. It was like, wow, there's one literally up the road from where I was at this afternoon. It's like, so, okay, I went into the Halloween shop. I was like a kid in the candy store or a kid in a toy store, which, hey, you put me in a toy store, I'm just as bad. But me liking horror movies, liking horror stuff, loving Halloween, this was like a free walkthrough, one of those fun houses for free. So, minus that I bought some stuff, and I try to control myself. So, I remember last year I wanted to buy, I saw it was when I went to visit a friend up in Wilkesboro, Todd. They have the Spirit shop up there that got closed down. They didn't open it this year. Was this Ouija board pillow. And I was like, wow, I really wanted that last year. I just kind of let it fall through the cracks. It was like $20. But then I had a 20% coupon. So I got like $4 off of it. So I went up to the one right up the road from where I lived, though, this time, up in the Collegeville Shopping Center. I went in there, I bought this Ouija board pillow, and I was having fun. I was really having fun, minus some of the acidine customers that were in there. It was a blast. It was a blast. I was like, I would love to do this. If I had a retail job just for the season, I would love to work in the Halloween store, the Spirit store. I think it's called Spirit. Just because I love that stuff. I mean, I really had so much fun today. So I got that. Then I was like, you know what? I don't feel like going right home, so I'm just going to check out Best Buy. Mistake. Big mistake for me. I go in there, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to buy a damn thing. I went out, I spent $130, folks. What did you buy for $130, Walter? Well, I almost bought everything in the store. So I didn't. There was things I picked up and I just put right back down. But there was things I picked up and they literally got glued to my hand almost. I'm kidding. One was I was like, you got to be kidding! $20 for the movie The Fog on a. Let's see if I can do it. In a tin box. It was like, why would I want to buy this in a tin box? But then I looked at the back and I said, oh, it's got all this extra footage and interviews. Up to date interviews. Let me look at it right now. But it said it has special features, 1080 high definition copy of the film of The Fog, the original Fog. And you know what? That movie was one of my favorite horror movies by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. I mean, I like Halloween. I love Halloween 2. Halloween 3 was decent when I figured out what it was about. My friend Matt explained it to me. But the whole thing, because I'm always about beachfronts and lighthouses, I've always had a fascination with that. Well, that's The Fog. So that movie is like my all-time favorite. When I started watching these films, these Spanish films, I forget what they're called, something The Dead. They were Spanish films. One of them had taken place on in a lighthouse, haunted ship type of situation. And these films I like, these Spanish films. I can't remember the names of them down, but something with the dead. They're kind of like very low budget horror films, but the fact that I liked that was because I liked the fog. Everything goes back to the fog. And even like Doctor Who, my favorite episode, this is going to fit in with Doctor Who, was with Tom Baker and Louise Jameson when they're in the lighthouse, because it was a lighthouse. Again, it was that whole thing with the lighthouse. The movie when I was a kid, by the way, when I saw the fog, I was scared shitless. Literally, I could not sleep. It scared me so bad, but I just loved the whole theme. I love anything that deals with oceanfront storytelling, so to speak, and I just love Jamie Lee. Jamie Lee Curtis was in there. I saw her name, and it just went in my head. No, but I love everything that Deborah Hill and John Carpenter used to do together as far as film work. And I love, out of all my horror films, The Fog is the one that I like the most. When I saw that 1080p, it's like, you know what a waste of money, but I'm going to buy it. And it says, interview with Jamie Lee Curtis, Tales from the Mist, Fear of whatever on Fear on Film, The Fog storyboard, horror Halloween grounds, outtakes, theatrical trailers, TV spots, and photo gallery. Some of this stuff is just a waste of space, but Fog is one of my. I have it somewhere, a copy of The Fog. The steel box was the only thing that really sold me. Was not the steel box, believe it or not. It was the fact that it's a 1080p copy rip on Blu-ray. So yeah, that was definite. Believe it or not, my friend Matt was talking about this movie. It's called The Mummy. And I like the Mummy movies. I like the classic horror films. For the last 2 or 3 years, every Halloween, Walmart puts them all out. And I end up buying all the original horrors of movies, from the 50s, 60s, is it? Of Dracula. I have that. Frankenstein, The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature in the Black Lagoon. I bought all those every year. I got them, unfortunately, always on DVD. I figured, why buy a Blu-ray? These movies are very old, and they're not going to look that impressive if you actually upscale the quality, because the films were shot at such a low budget with basically papier-mâché backgrounds, probably like Doctor Who. But I bought all those, so I got a pile of old movies that I haven't even ripped out of shrink wrap for years now. They've been sitting in a can in my room that I put that it has a lid that comes off, like it looks like a trash can seat. But you take the lid off, it's filled with old movies, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna eventually watch these when I get old and retired. I'm gonna sit down and watch all this shit that I bought. So anyway, the new one, I had no interest in buying it at all, or even seeing it, was the new Mummy, because I don't like Tom Cruise that much. Now, he was good in Top Gun, but that was a long time ago. That's a different story. So, I know he's done other risky business. I know. So anyway, I ended up streaming it like 2 weeks ago. I streamed the movie. I bought it on streaming on, it's on my thing on Apple TV. And I watched it at work, The Mummy, and it was like, wow, this is actually pretty impressive. It's not the best movie, but it's not the worst movie. It's actually very interesting. And the whole premise of the movie was they set it up that they wanted to make sequels by the looks of the way it ended. It actually had, a spoiler alert, but it did have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in there. Don't ask me why that fits in, but this particular character, this one character, was collecting monsters and myths that actually really existed in the story of The Mummy. The Mummy was just a setup. It was a setup to open up doors for other movies, which brings me back to what they used to do in the 50s and 60s, where they had the classic monsters fighting against each other. They were trying to go with that, but it got such bad reviews, and it did not look that impressive, that it ended up this being a total flop, unfortunately. So that's probably never going to happen, unfortunately. So that I bought anyway, The Mummy, Tom Cruise, The Mummy, and I've been trying to find stuff that I really want on 4K, because I have a 4K Blu-ray player, from the Xbox, and I got the 4K set. It's actually UMD, which I don't even know what the fuck that means. But anyway, Yeah, so I ended up buying the Mummy because it was a special limited edition. So I was like, okay, I'll buy that. I couldn't take it out of my hand. It was the last one I had left. Same thing with The Fog. You know what? That pisses me off. These people buy all these movies of these limited edition steel boxes. They bought them all out. They bought them all up. And then they sell them on eBay. So you pay, they bought them for $20 a pop. They will sell these same movies. I swear to God, if you go, sorry about that. If you go on the eBay, I guarantee they probably marked it up to about $50 at least. And they do that all the time. It really pisses me off. So anyway, the last thing I bought, which I'm not a big fan of, but I do, I'm a big Superman fan, by the way, and Supergirl. So do you know where this is going to go? Maybe. But I'm a big Superman / Supergirl fan of the movie, that one with, I can't remember that from the same guys who did Superman 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2? 1, 2? The Donner or whatever you call that movies. They also did Supergirl, the movie, and I love that. I got actually a very rare edition years ago that is worth tons of money. But I'm not going to let it go. But then when they came out finally with like Supergirl, the TV series, because I think they tried it in the past and just never went too far, I was really happy because there was Superboy and some other things. So I watched the first season. I thought it was certain things they changed I wasn't too thrilled with, but I liked it a lot. Season 2, I kind of lost interest in pretty quickly, but then they had a steel box of Supergirl, and it was like, okay, there was the last one they had left in the steel box. I do collect a lot of DC stuff, from the TV shows, the films, everything from Batman, Superman, definitely, Suicide Squad, absolutely. So, I'm a big fan, and I think I only got a month to go before Justice League comes out. So I'm a big DC crazy fanatic, so I had to get I didn't have to get it, but I did. How's that? Because I can't say, I had to get it because I'll hear about that. So I got it because I wanted it. So I got that. Oh, and then I saw it was like, I have to get, I got it because I wanted to. For my mother, she loves Anthony Perkins. The man was gay, I know. She loves Anthony Perkins, and they had, I spent almost an hour just talking about this, and I haven't even played any clips. And I'm going to go through those by hook or by crook. So I got my mother, they had an exclusive box set on Blu-ray of all, technically there's only one Psycho movie done by Hitchcock, but there's 4 Psycho films. There's 3 sequels that had nothing to do with Hitchcock's original idea. My mom loved all 4 movies. She actually likes the ones in Keller, which have nothing to do with Hitchcock again. She just loved them because they had Anthony Perkins in there. So I had a 4-set box set of of the Psycho films, and she loves all those movies no matter how bad they got. She just loved them. It was like, you know what, I gotta buy this. It was $30. That's where all this money went. So I had to buy that for my mother, so I got that for her. And yes, I heard what I just said. And she has something to do. She can't go very far. She's very not very mobile. She's, got bronchitis for like the last month. She's sick as a dog. She's coughing all the time, making me sick, like by coughing on me without covering her mouth. And it was like, you know what? I got to do something to kind of give her something to do besides watching the same thing over and over again. Now, these she will watch over and over again. So once in a while, there's a movie she finds that she really likes, and she'll watch it like a million times. So that was one of them, and I got them for her. I got the whole box. That was $30. It was worth it. So I mean, that's 4 Blu-rays. You divide that $30 into that. It's like what, $7 a pop for a Blu-ray, and it's a limited box set. Whatever. I didn't care. It was for my mother, and I did it to be nice. Alrighty. So let me move on as quickly as possible because it is actually 45 minutes into the show. I apologize about that. Give you an idea. My clips are something AFX on Hillary Clinton. Some girl, she's very funny. It's a minute and a half. I got one of Bill O'Reilly on the $20 trillion debt that we now have in our country. And I will probably read this or go over this one I have up on from Life Hacks about student loans now being at $1.3 trillion. in our country. That's, hey, you got to go to college. College is really good. Well, the debt now for people who have gone to college, students, is now at $1.3 trillion. I got something from Ken Matthews, a clip from him, and some guy from Facebook, Facebook, who names himself Liberal Loon. He's not a liberal, though. He's actually complete opposite, but he's very funny and very truthful. I could have had a plethora of other stuff, but I didn't keep up with everything I heard, and I didn't take notes on everything, thank God, because this show would never end, and I'd be up until like 6, 7 in the morning again. So let me start off with reading this, going over this one from student loans, because I heard this on Rush by listening to Friday show during the weekend. So, and then I'll play that soundbite, because that will fit nicely together with Bill O'Reilly's clip on the $40 trillion debt. So let me look at this first. This is by Zach Friedman. Student loan debt in 2017 is at $1.3 trillion, and it actually breaks down. This is from Forbes.com, actually, is a link. It gives you total student loans is $1.3 trillion. Total U.S. borrowers with student loans debt is 44.2 million. And it says student loan delinquency or default rate is 11.2. Total increase in student loan debt in the fourth quarter of 2016 was $31 billion, just in 1 year. New delinquent balance 30-plus days is $32.6 billion. And new delinquent balances, seriously delinquent, 90-plus days is $31 billion. And it goes state by state and the amount of debt that each state's in. For instance, like Pennsylvania, where I live, is 34. I don't know if that's 34 million or what, but the U.S. average student loan debt per capita is $4,920. Pennsylvania, New York, and Michigan have among the highest student loan debt per capita in the nation. So congratulations. On the top list is Pennsylvania, where I live, which is no shock. So that being said, we got these high student loans. Now, here's one thing that's kind of funny, because Bill O'Reilly keeps on pushing this too. He says the only way you're going to stop or decrease or what Trump needs to do is to get people to vote for him again. Bill O'Reilly is saying this. He says that Trump needs to make some tax breaks. Well, you know what? I actually agreed with that at first, but then I was listening to, I forget who it was, but the problem is it was not even like a talk show host. It was like people in, in government, I guess. They said, but the problem is if you decrease the taxes now, you're going to be paying for it later, because the money doesn't go away. Yeah, you're going to have more money in your pocket, which, trust me, I'm all for that. You're going to definitely have more money in your pocket, but the problem is it's not going to decrease our, $1 trillion deficit that has accumulated over the years. I think it's $20 trillion. Yeah, it is. It's $20 trillion debt in the U.S. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse, because with that, but the way around this is not to give money away for free, like they are doing. They're giving too much money away for free. You can thank definitely the 8 years of Obama for that. And you can also thank these people who keep on voting Democrat, who absolutely want everything for free. So, yeah, that is an issue. And by the way, I did see this. I didn't look for the link, but I heard Rush talking about this last week. And I had to look it up. So I try to find some articles, and I got this global map on what countries, everybody and all these other countries, by the way, which this adds to our debt too, who allow amnesty in their countries. Basically, like, okay, if you're born, like if I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm born in Germany or England, if I was born there, that makes me an automatic citizen of that country. Yeah, guess what? There's only one country, literally one country on the entire planet who does that. Like, if you're like, there's some smaller countries that may allow that, but honestly, there's only one out of very few. Basically, we're the only one. Is the U.S. that allows, like, okay, if you're born, if you're an illegal immigrant and you come over our country, yeah, if that born child, it's got instant, what do you call it? They're instantly a U.S. citizen. We're the only country that does that. If you're born in another country and you're not from that country, you don't get instant, I can't even think of the proper word, but you're not instantly a citizen of that country. We're the only ones who really do that. And this has also created a large problem, because then you have these offspring now who they're too young to take care of themselves. So they're the mother and the father become citizens illegally, but they're citizens. You can't kick them out. And that was one I should have looked up, folks. I couldn't find, but this is no joke, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't show you it, or talk about it directly. But do you know what? In the in California, that there is exactly, or probably over 1 million illegal immigrants that have driver's license, because California is so nuts. I wish I would have found that one. That they allow illegal immigrants to get driver's license, and their excuse is, well, because they need to get to their job. But the real reason is because that's how California gets all those votes, because they are they're literally a sanctuary state, California, and by allowing all these illegals, they give them free welfare, free everything, and even allow them to get a driver's license when they're not even legal citizens of the country. So yeah, that's the whole reason behind this whole thing. But this is what creates more debt in our country. This is why we have a $20 trillion debt right now, probably, wouldn't you think? Because they're also getting free education. Illegal immigrants are getting free education, the ones that the offspring are getting born. And they don't want to stay here. They just want to basically sponge off literally the government. But where does that money come from? Where does the money come from? Or where does the government get the money? They get it from our taxes. I looked at my paycheck, and I pay 33% in taxes. But then if you weigh everything else in that I pay out of my paycheck, because we have these pie charts now they give you, literally a pie chart. You can look up what you pay out of your pocket, how much you're physically taking home every week, or for the year, how much I'm taking home for the year, and how much I'm paying for other things, health insurance, other taxable income or taxable areas in the government takes from my pocket. Well, guess what? If you incorporate that into what I'm losing out of a yearly paycheck, it's I'm only taking home about 60%. So I think it was like 44% of my income is either going towards insurances, taxes, or other parts of the government. None of it's going in my pocket. It's going into somebody else's pocket. So 44%. And I make like way under $100,000. And they want more of my money. So, but the reason is, and you know what the problem is, I'm complaining about this. Guess what? It's going to get worse. That's going to be there's always a catch to something. Like, unfortunately, I hate to say this. I'm really hate to say this, but we can make it better now for us, but it's going to make it much worse later on when we're long gone. That if you, ease the burden on us, it's going to be much worse. Eventually, we are going to become like one of these countries like Greece and whatever, because the bad thing we had for 8 years with Obama is it was redistribution of wealth, and it was from everybody's pocket who was working. But you can't continue to do that, obviously, but you can't also just say, okay, we're gonna cut expenses here and there. Yeah, you need to cut expenses. Don't get me wrong, but you can't cut back on taxes, unfortunately, because what's going to end up happening, what I heard from one show I was listening to, then what's going to eventually happen is your taxes are going to even be worse. Like, I forget who, maybe it was on Rush. Somebody was talking to Rush from the government saying, you cut back taxes now, the amount of taxes you're paying now are like $2,000 a year. Well, eventually, those taxes you're paying, like right now that you think are really hurting you because you're paying $2,000 a year in taxes for things, are eventually going to be double that. They're going to be like, you're going to be paying $4,000 in taxes, because by alleviating the pain now, eventually it's going to be much worse, if that makes any sense. And eventually it's going to be like you're going to be paying $6,000, which originally you paid $2,000 in taxes. So the answer to the solution is not cutting back on taxes, but it is cutting back on wasteful spending, which I think Trump has done so far. I'll leave it go at that because I think I'll get more people confused when I'm talking about. It kind of makes sense in my head, but I'm not doing a very good job explaining it to anybody else. So I actually had this. I cut it out completely, by the way. I did not play the Bill O'Reilly, but there was this thing on Jamel Hill. I know Bill O'Reilly was talking about her, and it was like, that's a chick who works on, black chick who works on ESPN or something like that, and it's pissing off a lot of these people. A friend of mine, too, if you're a person who's into sports, which I'm not. ESPN has become like CNN. You know, they basically talk about politics and racial diversity, which is bullshit. You're talking a sports network. What are you going to do next? Talk about diversity and political correctness on Cartoon Network then, too? You might as well, if you're going that direction. So, but I cut that all out. So I think people have heard enough about that. Are probably sick of hearing about it. So anyway, let me see if I can pop this up right now with first Bill O'Reilly with a $1 trillion deficit. A little late in where I wanted to put it, but hey, that's fine. So here we go, and I'm going to play right now. And I'm just going to go through these because it's actually an hour right now. The one on Bill O'Reilly on $1 trillion debt. So I'm pausing this and playing that.
And the average is less than 1.5%, should be 3%, double. And the reason is that the government is strangling private enterprise in this country. Every Republican knows this. Democrats, they want a socialistic state. They want an entitlement state. They're not going to vote for any tax cuts on corporations or anybody else. But it hurts their own folks, the minority community. All right? So I can't tell you how important. And Donald Trump should get out there, should go to every state, 50 states, and say, look, your guys need to vote for this tax cut. It's got to be done if the country's to move forward. This isn't not a partisan analysis. If Donald Trump deserves to be reelected, he will be. If there's somebody better comes along, that person will be the president. But this is for you. We need to get this economy rolling. Okay, here's another reason why. Americans are headed toward $1 trillion in credit card debt. This is from a new study released by WalletHub.com, personal finance website, WalletHub.com. All right, so U.S. consumers added $33 billion in credit card debt just in the second quarter of this year. Just in the second quarter of this year. Okay, second highest point of debt since the end of 2008. So you don't have any money, but you still need to buy stuff, but not on your credit card. I used to think that this was a lazy way and an irresponsible way, but now I know from talking to a lot of people that necessities are being put on the credit card when you can't pay for them. Necessities of life. The average household in America has a credit card balance of $8,000. And you're paying usurious interest rates on that. The average. Okay, so that's why we need the economy to grow so you can make more money and don't have to put all this on your credit card. As far as the country is concerned, the national debt is now topped $20 trillion for the first time in history. I don't really have to go into this too much. $20 trillion, we're not going to be able to pay that back, ever. All we can do is pay the interest to the people who buy our credit sources so we can continue to run up massive debt. President Trump's not going to rein that in. His first priority is getting the economy rolling. Okay? And then maybe after that he would, but he's not going to do it in his first term.
Okay, so I hope you found that, useful, that information. That was Bill O'Reilly. I'm just going to have to keep on rolling this because, again, it's an hour, and I got four more sound bites to play. So, I'm going to try to fit in the next one. I believe it either will be Ken Matthews, or I have one called, I have one listed as DC Statesman Washington. I'm not familiar with what that's about, so I have to listen to it myself, but that I'm going to try to play next. Then Ken Matthews, and then the last two from Facebook, and then I'll call it a night. So let me line up the next soundbite, and then I'll discuss it for once actually after I play, because I'm just trying to, it's getting late for me, and I don't want to be up all night. So I apologize for not giving you more information, but once you hear it, you will know. So here we go. Soundbite number 2.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California to find out if voter ID laws suppress the black vote. Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far to say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually
unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process was.
I just think that's ignorant.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the
Very,
word I'm hearing
very
a lot.
ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Are you
Love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you had to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'm really sorry about that, folks. I totally forgot about that, what that was all about, because it was a while ago when I had ripped that. And obviously it's self-explanatory, but the people who were downplaying or trying to think they knew more about black people were all people that were these snowflakes and left-winged people. They know better what black people can and don't know and what they do know. And that was the first segment part of that. It was a 4.5 minute clip, and the second half was actually asking black people the questions they asked the white people, and if this was true. So, yeah, that just shows you, I guess, obviously, the stupidity of how these liberal left think they know more than the people they're talking about or, supposedly are supporting, which obviously they don't. So anyway, I forgot all about that, but I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did when I ripped it and totally forgot about it. Again, it's a little after, the hour, so I want to keep this rolling as smoothly as possible and not waste a lot of time. So I'm going to go to the next one, which was Ken Matthews talking about Steve. Let me see if I can pull this up. Steve, who again? Because I made notes on the clips. Get info. Let me see. I apologize. I'm wasting time. I know. Ken Matthews plays clip from. I can't read it because I have it oh God, this is going to drive me. It's going to drive me crazy. Get info. Rename. Okay, I'm sorry, Steve Bannon. So, about DACA. It was something that the media did not want you to hear, but Ken Matthews is able to dig it up. Ken Matthews is from the Philly, Pennsylvania area. So I love the dude because he's from my area, my neck of the woods, not far from where I live, probably, I'm sure. So I'm going to play Ken Matthews next, and he will explain himself and play a clip that I think you're going to find pretty intriguing. Here we go.
You got to weigh in on this. Especially if you're Catholic. And this is going to be on 60 Minutes. I'm sharing it with you now without editing it. You will hear the edited version throughout mainstream media because it's imperative that they save the narrative. But I want you to listen to this entire segment. This is the first extensive interview with Steve Bannon since leaving the Trump administration, and he talks about DACA, and he talks about DACA and the Catholic Church. And you're going to hear and see all different versions of this. I've already heard, I heard clips this morning on an affiliate to remain unnamed, a television affiliate, and I was listening and I said, that sounds interesting. Then I went and found the entire clip, and they had cut out certain things that Steve Bannon said. Here it is.
Former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon is speaking out about President Trump's decision to end the DACA program. The Obama-era policy protects nearly 800,000 immigrants from deportation. They came to this country illegally as children. We spoke to Bannon in an interview for Sunday's 60 Minutes. It is his first extensive interview since leaving the White House.
Look what he did on DACA the other day. Okay, I don't agree with that DACA decision, but I understand how he struggled with it. I understand how he's giving a possibility of a legislative thing, and he said even last night in a tweet, he would rethink it. Trust me, the guys on the far right, the guys on the conservative side are not happy with this.
Can I remind you, a good Catholic, that Cardinal Dolan is opposed to what's happening with DACA. Cardinal Dolan.
The Catholic Church has been terrible about this.
Okay, fair
The bishops have been terrible about this. By the way, you know why? You know why? Because unable to really to come to grips with the problems in the church, they need illegal aliens. They need illegal aliens to fill the churches. It's obvious on the face of it. That's what the entire Catholic bishops condemning. They have an economic interest. They have an economic interest in unlimited immigration, unlimited illegal immigration. As much as
Boy, that's a tough thing to say about your church.
As much as I respect Cardinal Dolan and the bishops on doctrine, this is not doctrine. This is not doctrine at all. I totally respect the Pope, and I totally respect the Catholic bishops and cardinals on doctrine. This is not about doctrine. This is about the sovereignty of a nation. And in that regard, they're just another guy with an opinion.
All right, so that was on Ken Matthews. I apologize. It's weird because when I ripped this off the internet on Ken Matthews, it didn't sound so washed out. So I don't know what happened because I use this recording device machine to do this stuff, and yeah, that one came out pretty funky. Normally they don't because he sounded like really clear, very loud, and that sounded again washed. So that was Ken Matthews, and again, that was another, I thought, very interesting point, kind of supporting what I've been saying even tonight about when he played that thing on DACA, that, the reason they keep on trying to keep these illegal immigrants in this country is it's for the votes, basically. I mean, and I strongly agree with that. So, I'm not going to repeat or, just reiterate what you've already heard, so I won't bother you with that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to go on because I do got 2 more clips to play, and it is a little after the hour, and the clips are very short. These are being more entertaining, though other ones were very serious, very informative, I think. At least they were to me. So I got one that's from the liberal loon, who is very funny but very truthful, and the one from this chick who talks about Hillary and her new book, and in a very entertaining way, because I agree with both these people, and especially this girl, which I'll leave to the last and call it a night. So here we go. First, liberal loon is next on my sound clips for tonight.
Where do I begin? We living in a circus. See, in the beginning, it was the President Barack Hussein, abomination of the United States. Now all you pussies are in for a rude awake. 'Cause orange is the new black. It's a new dawn of a new day. Get it? A new dawn? The one hated by the extremist left? The one, no matter what he says, the mainstream media dissects, twists, and turns his words into a fake news story for the sheep to digest? Sensitive snowflakes who can't sleep, waking up in cold sweats for being so upset, you put them in check, they need a safe space to protect their precious ears. The left is just trying to instill fear. They're trying to divide us while every promise Trump tries to accomplish is being blocked at Congress. What the fuck is this nonsense? He talking about stopping illegal immigration. He's saying the problem isn't with the cops. The problem is with gang affiliations. Accusations that the man's a racist, insinuations of sexism, fascism, bigotry, and xenophobia. These are all symptoms of a mental disorder. It's called liberalism. It's where they obviously project their own twisted ideology onto anyone who opposes them. They don't believe in democracy. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. Look, I didn't like Bush. I didn't like Obama. But when they got elected, I didn't go crying to my mama. I remained optimistic because why would I want my president to fail? I might have had some bias because of Israel, but I'm also an American citizen. Born and raised in New York, the home of the most diverse. Both parents are immigrants. And I'm Jewish too. So yeah, I am the minority group. But I'm a man with a white color complexion, so I guess I wouldn't understand the struggle of oppression. Man, it's the same shit. The only difference is I ain't pissed. I'm over it. I move on and I don't say shit. I don't complain, I tie my laces and I go to work. I don't take shit that ain't mine and I don't blame him or blame her. I save lives. What do? You don't work or go to school. What's your excuse? You protest every day while my tax dollars are paying for your fucking Medicaid. You ain't shit. I say I don't like Barack, suddenly I'm a racist. I say I like Trump, now I'm a white supremacist, sexist, xenophobic, chauvinist pig. I ain't falling for this globalist new world order shit, this fucking business as usual Democratic Party socialist shit, this Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, Trevor Noah shit, this Hillary Clinton should have been in prison bitch, and all the fucking Bernie supporters with their fuck the hard worker, I'm poor, so give me more shit for free while I sip my tea screaming we should open up our borders shit. I bet you if a Syrian refugee came knocking on their doorstep for a place to stay, they'd lock their doors real quick. It's all horse shit. They're saying love trumps hate while wearing a mask. Then spraying mace to the face of those wearing a red Make America Great Again hat. Saying not my president, then burning the American flag. Fuck you. Go move to Canada then. Matter of fact, go move to Paris, France, or Brussels, London, Germany, or better yet, Iran. And while you're at it, go bury yourself in the sand. Look, since this isn't your home, leave the land that our veterans had to fight for so we could live free and go fucking live in a war zone. Lord knows you're gonna come running back, but when you do, the door's closed. Your passport's revoked. You ain't welcome here anymore, so send us a fucking postcard. Peace.
Okay, that was another one that was excellent. That was a liberal loon. Very vulgar, obviously. The guy is a white Jewish guy from, I think, New York. It's definitely sounded like a New York accent. Yeah, he was very entertaining, but everything he said was absolutely true. I mean, I don't know, I don't live in an area, obviously, as harsh as he does, but, I think he's actually an EMT as well. But you can't deny the man speaking the truth. So that's why I listened to this on the Facebook, and at first, I looked at him and I was like, okay, I was going to pass it by when I saw his face came up, and then I gave it a shot, listened to his video, his little video spiel, and I was like, you know what, this guy is actually making a lot of sense. So I had to play it for everybody else as well. My last one is not quite as vulgar, but it's going to be just as harsh, so to speak. So here we go. And it was, I'm not sure, I didn't really give a name, but it's a girl talking about Hillary's new book. And it was AFX is what it was abbreviated, so I'm not sure. I guess it's for people who wanted to basically speak their mind and not have to hold back. So here we go. Here's the very last one for tonight.
Hillary Clinton's new book is now out, and she's been promoting it by playing the blame game. She says she lost because of the Russians, James Comey, suburban women, misogynists, social media, Putin, Trump, and Barack Obama for winning 2 terms. No. Hillary Clinton's emails weren't deleted and lied about by the Russians. They were deleted and lied about by her. James Comey wasn't Secretary of State when Benghazi happened. Hillary was. Suburban housewives haven't been lying for personal gain since the 90s. Hillary the hypocrite has. Misogynists didn't lie about being under sniper fire. Hillary did. Haitians aren't protesting outside Trump Tower. They're protesting outside the Clinton Foundation. Donna Brazile didn't sneak Putin debate questions. She snuck them to Hillary before debating Bernie Sanders. Barack Obama didn't say he had public and private positions. No, that was Hillary. Is it so shocking that people don't trust Hillary, that people were sick of the status quo? Really? If Hillary was at all in touch, she would realize that blaming Trump and everyone else isn't going to win future elections. Not that I want them to win, but come on, Democrats. Hillary is still the best you can do for your representation. My 2 cents? Pick someone else for 2018 and 2020.
Okay, that was excellent. That was a good way to end the show. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was on Hillary's new book. She really doesn't give her name. I don't think they put it on when I posted on my Facebook from wherever it was posted from originally. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was really good for, like I said, the closing segment. It's almost 20 minutes after the hour for my show tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is Walter from iWalter, and yeah, I'm just going to say I'm signing off for now, and I don't know when I'll be back. I'm very tired, and just want to end this for tonight. So I hope you enjoyed everything I talked about and what I played. Have a good one, everyone, and just we'll be back with some more news and some more stories eventually. Have a good one.